Hey guys, Mubarak here of In Penny Stock. Hope you're doing well. In today's episode, I want to go over NFTs, all right, non-fungible tokens. What are they? What's going on? And how is it relevant? All right, so I have a few interesting topics to go over. But first, we got to talk about the whole concept of what you're even seeing here. All right, it looks like cards and kind of like a baseball card, digital card concept, and basically non-fungible tokens are a new concept of digital art. All right, so it's super rapidly growing. It's very, very big now in video games, in Christie's art auctions around the world. They're basically digital art and digital collectibles. All right, so just like how you might think of a baseball card or a basketball card or any type of collectible, a vintage car, right? It's unique in that it's only able to be assigned to one person, right? And it can be duplicated, it can be sold, but at least it's a way for people to know and people to kind of make a claim on any type of digital asset that they've made. So this is a picture, this is a video, this is a collectible like you see here, a card. And so basically there's a really cool company, Cryptometa, which I want to kind of base this around, which is utilizing the concept of NFTs and non-fungible tokens, that's what it stands for, to go into and discuss how it can be used for everyday people like you and me. All right, so really 2021 is the year of the NFTs. All right, the first kind of digital market started happening at the end of last year, and there's just been a lot of space now. So in just a short period of time, there's already been billions of dollars put into it. And I want to kind of show you guys, just like how, if you missed out on the Bitcoin pop or if you missed out on a lot of the cryptocurrency pops, NFTs is now the next big thing. All right. So Cryptometa is this company that I've been tracking that basically helps set that up for people. Like, there's a few auction sites and stuff where you can kind of just, anybody can make their own type of NFT, but this is really just a well put together concept and company that allows you to essentially make collectible cards yourself, whether it's based on you, whether it's based upon character or fantasy thing, anything that you want to have it around, you can kind of create that here. And they're still in pre-launch phase. They're about to go live soon, and they have a token called the Tech Token, which is what I wanted to kind of talk about and how it works, all right? Because they've set it up in a very unique fashion that's a little different, all right? So typically what you'll hear is, you've probably heard, if you've been in the cryptocurrency world at all, about the concept of staking, right? So staking is similar to the idea. In the US, it's not so common, but in other countries, it's more. But essentially, what staking is it has to do with a digital concept. It has to do with the idea that if you are staking, you're putting, say, your funds, or say in this case, your token, you're allowing it to be held by whichever company or whichever entity is there. And then because you're allowing that token or that currency to be utilized and to be out there in the open, quote unquote, you're able to get rewards and more currency and more for it. So think about it in the concept of a bank, right? A savings account, essentially. That's kind of the similarity of it. So a bank, the reason they give you money back when your savings account is because essentially what they're allowed to do by the U.S. government and by other countries have similar concepts, is that when you put your money into a savings account, the bank is allowed to take a percentage of that and invest that money and use that money for their own operations and make money on top of it. All right. When they make that money on top of it, the reason they're able to give you a small interest percentage is because, you're helping them make money and you're not utilizing it, right? You have to actually transfer it, which notifies the bank and then cuts off the ability for you to actually make that interest rate on your savings. So that's the same concept that staking is. So this is staking for cryptocurrency. And the cool thing about this, though, is that in other scenarios, when it comes to staking in the cryptocurrency world, the situation basically is that, let me move down to kind of the staking portion, is that what happens here is that in typical scenarios, when you end up doing staking, what happens is that you're only getting a smaller percentage because the company or the entity, whatever token, whatever is being used and being held, right? Then those guys usually end up wanting to use those tokens for their own operations, for their own ability, and they usually end up enhancing the actual what they call liquidity pool. All right, the liquidity pool in the cryptocurrency space is basically a place where everyone is putting their funds and putting their tokens, right? And then it allows the company to be able to utilize that, or it allows it to just be backed against something. In this scenario, they're not really using it for other funds. They're just using it as a way to kind of make the concept more popular. So that's why they're able to offer a slightly higher percentage than normal for anybody who is willing to do staking. So basically, when you think staking, just think about they're holding it you're not able to use it actively. You still own it, but you're able to basically put it up for loan and get rewards, get more tokens, and obviously these tokens end up ending up having some value that you can make money off of. So one of the things I always like to make sure of, though, before I invest into anything, and again, this isn't investment advice, it's purely educational. I just want to give you guys exposure to what's out there and what's going on, especially in today's NFT world and how it's popping off. So what's happening here is that Cryptometa is a good company because they were able to raise a few $1 million, enough where you know that it's going to be around for a while, right? And then when you look into the actual different types of partners that they should be in it for a while. Now, the good thing is that they also have some pretty big integrations. They have a Cardano integration, and they're working pretty aggressively into it. One of the things I like to make sure of always, though, is that I can understand that there's actually a team around it and I can hold people accountable. So the good thing is that I've been able to look up these guys and see them and their participation. If you don't see them on LinkedIn or you don't see them, then it's a little bit scammy and schemy. But in this case, these guys put themselves on. They have all these partners here. So you know that they're going to be backed and they're going to have some money in it, right? Because investors don't usually just invest once, right? They know that the person is going to need and the entity is going to need more money and that they're going to need more and more to grow. So it ends up being a pretty good situation if you're able to have companies like this that have so much, backing and so much capital behind them. But yeah, essentially, I mean, for the most part, Cryptometa is definitely one of the main tokens and kind of projects, I guess, that I would recommend having on your radar, because they have not only the backing and stuff, but they have the staking, the NFT logic. The cool thing is that they're also coming out with a marketplace, so you'll be able to actually have a currency for and a trading marketplace for your actual tokens. And then finally, what they are going to be releasing, this is kind of behind the scenes a bit, is they're actually going to be coming out with a gaming platform as well. So they have some really cool partners that they're working with in order to get this going. But definitely what I would recommend is that if you're interested in the NFT space, the cryptocurrency space, and the token sales space or anything of that nature, I would definitely recommend putting Cryptometa on your radar. Of course, if you do have any questions, they have all of their accounts and social media down here. And I'll link to the description these different profiles so you can reach out to them. You can read more about them. Now, there are still a few more items to discuss regarding the staking and the way that it works, right? I had mentioned that it was unique in a certain fashion, but there's a few key aspects that you really want to understand about the Cryptometa staking, right? So in this fashion, the way it's a little bit different compared to usual is that there are endlessly open pools, all right? So the way it's going to work is that there's going to be a massive distribution of tokens, all right? So there's going to be 200 million tech tokens, and I'm going to be pulling that up essentially to see where you can kind of get the breakdown for the tech tokens and how that all works now. All right, and so there's going to be about 20% of the tokens are going to be distributed to the rewards pool on an even basis, all right? So that's kind of how it's going to work, is there's going to be those types of releases here. And this is the, what I'm scrolling through is the Medium page. This will give you a lot of background information on where they're at and, what I was showing beforehand. But essentially, the key thing to note is that there's going to be a type of withdrawal system that's going to happen. So it's going to be locked for 2 periods after the user ends up starting the staking. And the pools are actually endless. So you can you can stake your tech tokens and basically come up with a compound system. That's really where the Cryptometa shines a bit in the compound system. All right. Now, in terms of the liquidity staking, that's going to be more of a fashion. So you'll be able to kind of choose how that ends up working. But both, basically, you'll get actually additional rewards in it. So that's a really, really cool concept. Okay. And ultimately, what you need to understand is that the tech token is going to end up being an in-game currency. So Cryptometa is actually working on, and part of their roadmap, is going to be the in-game currency that they'll have. So all of the Cryptometa NFT cards that you have are going to be able to be possible to be used in the game. So like NFT items, weapons, they're going to play a role in it. And you can play the game without it. This is kind of some of the items that they're referencing. But you're going to be able to, generally speaking, use these NFTs in-game. And so that's going to be pretty cool. So one of the type of basically purposes of this can be used for not only in-game, but also marketplaces. And now the marketplace in general, not only is it going to be something that where you can find a value for your NFT cards, but it's also going to be something where you're going to be able to trade your cards, trade in with other players. So it becomes a kind of mass community. Good thing is it's going to be on the Polygon network, so there's not going to be any fees. Essentially like instant transactions for those of you guys who know what Polygon is. If not, I'll link to it below. And so the concept is to obviously get into a zone and into a place where you have more of these. And NFTs are the futures. As I mentioned, the digital art concept that's being created, and the fact that in this scenario, in this game that they're going to be launching within the Cryptometa kind of product roadmap, it's going to be possible for you to collect the NFTs and use it in the marketplace, use it in the game. So they're going to be traded within the game. They're going to have, like, I don't know if you guys have ever played those games like World of Warcraft, RuneScape, but they're basically going to end up having some type of attribute, some type of randomly generated stats that are going to be added to your character and your player, right? So that's kind of where this comes into play. So they're right now in launch mode, basically. And so the cool thing is that once this is all set up, these types of NFTs are going to be able to be utilized in the game and be able to be traded within the mobile game. So essentially, this is a full comprehensive tech platform essentially that they have that they're going to be using for Cryptometa, for in general as they expand out the marketplace. And I just think it's a cool, interesting, pretty dynamic concept that they have here. So at the very least, they have a stake lottery or draw essentially. So if you're staking for the whole week, then essentially what you're going to be getting access to is like a lottery draw where it's got to happen every Sunday or so, and you're going to be able to take part in it. So all of this information is going to be broken down in the description below, but I wanted to provide that type of breakdown as well about Cryptometa and kind of where they're going to be at. Obviously, always do your own research. Again, this is purely educational. I just found this to be a very cool project that's out there, so hope you guys enjoy. If you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at admin@inpennystock.com or leave a comment below and I'll get back to you guys. And definitely subscribe if you like more videos like this. Take care.